Welcome back to the Hogs Die, your absolutely unofficial source for all things Redskins and the NFL. The season is over, but things are just starting to heat up in Landover and across the league. Front offices are scrambling to write up new contracts and jockey position for the league's soon-to-be-available vets. And this is especially true for the Burgundy and Gold, whose free agent lists boast names like Kirk Cousins, Alfred Morris, Keenan Robinson, and Terrence Knighton, among others. We'll be following all the moves so you don't have to, so make sure you're checking in with us on the reg through the offseason so you can stay with it. In other news, the 2016 NFL Combine workout started on Friday, and we'll be keeping you posted on any developments there, as well as our picks for potentials in each position group. Plus, Dan Snyder's bored, so the lawsuits are starting to fly. You don't want to miss all that unless you're a big dunce. So stick around for the Hogs Die next.
It's the Hogs Die.
Funny guy, Sean.
I do what I do. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hogs Die. Like I said, my name is Sean. I got the crew here with me. So excited to be here for another off-season with you guys. I got my man Alex Zeese.
Hey, how's it going?
Maestro Robbie Duncan himself.
What up?
And Mr. Steve Thomas. What's up, Steve?
Dan Snyder's bored, so the litigation starts flying.
He's got to do something in the offseason. Am I right, guys?
No football to watch, so we might as well draft a petition or two.
No. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, we got to get to all of that stuff, but before maybe we get into Snyder's crazy lawsuits and Cousins and the Combine stuff, did you guys see this Dante Fowler video?
Sure did, man.
Yeah.
That was some crazy stuff. So in case you're at home and you've been living under a rock, you haven't seen this video, Dante Fowler's, baby mama got in a fight with his girlfriend?
Yep. Yep.
Don't you guys just wish you had lives like that?
No.
Not really. No.
I have a firm and fast rule that I tell all my friends, and that is don't stick your dick in crazy boys.
That's right. And just keep your girlfriend away from your baby mama. I mean, this is not rocket science. What were they going on, like a group date or something?
Looked like they were in an elevator of an apartment complex, really.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically what happens is they're like, and I don't know if the video I saw didn't have audio, so I couldn't really hear anything. But like you see them kind of chatting and talking, and then the fists start flying between the two girls. And the funniest part to me is Fowler, he just kind of watches for a minute. Like,
oh, it was almost worse than that. It was like almost he went, okay, ready? Fight, you know.
Yeah, right, that's what it looked like. Mortal Kombat. Round 1, fight.
So, I guess the question for this would be, finish her. I guess the question for this would be, is there any kind of do you think there's any kind of answering for this kind of scenario that he has to do for the NFL or perhaps for his team? Or is this just an unfortunate thing that got caught on camera?
I think from the NFL perspective, there really isn't much of discipline.
Yeah.
You know, what did he do wrong? He didn't fight. You know, unless there's audio somewhere that is something drastically different than what it appears. Did he use bad judgment? Yes. Should he have not, basically refereed a fight between, his girlfriend and the mother of his child?
You should have a 50-foot radius between any woman and former woman that you're sleeping with at all times. Like, that's just good sound advice.
Yeah, I mean,
he just didn't exercise good judgment, but I don't think his conduct rose to the level of where it was a violation of the NFL's conduct policy.
No,
right.
No, not at all.
Right, but then again, you have to wonder, when has the NFL ever been afraid to overstep the letter of their law before? I mean, I think the NFL kind of does what it wants to do, even if there's not necessarily a hard and fast rule explicitly against what somebody does.
Yeah, I hear you, but most of the time they overreach on the punishment, but the crime was there for the most part.
That's true.
Yeah.
And here I just don't see what the crime is. Was he a moron? Yes. But, it's not illegal to be a moron.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
if it was, half the league would probably be kicked out. So.
More than that, man. More than that. Yeah. Seriously.
I'm trying to be nice.
Well, I just want to take this opportunity to, before we move on, I just want to say about this, I hate TMZ. I really hate TMZ, that it exists, what it does, what it stands for. It's a gotcha thing. That's all it is. It exists to make fools out of people and catch them at their worst moments. I think some of the things they've brought to light are probably great, but I'm just tired of this shit. Like, the fact that we even have to, spend time talking about this because some website paid, $10,000 for the video, it's just depressing. That's sad. I feel bad for him, and I feel bad for those two women who now look like complete idiots, which they were being stupid, but,
Yeah.
It's nothing that need to be.
We've all had bad moments in our life, so I'm not going to judge them too hard.
I haven't had that kind of bad moment, though.
Well.
I don't know, Steve. I don't know, man. So
you might have. It's just never been caught on camera.
No, I can guarantee you, a girlfriend and the baby mama have never refereed a fight between the two. No.
Oh no. But have you ever gotten in arguments with your wife and stuff? Like that stuff always looks bad on camera. That's the point.
It does. Yeah.
So,
Well,
I think just faux pas on his part. Everyone can move on with their lives.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is only the second worst domestic violence incident involving an elevator that hit the last few years, so at least it's
the
not
other one
the
was
worst.
way worse. Yeah, that's true. The other one was
Far
actual
worse.
violence.
Yeah, just stop riding elevators. There's cameras on elevators. Stop riding elevators if you're in the NFL.
Everyone in the NFL has to stay on the first floor at all times.
I think the WWE ought to recreate the Dante Fowler incident in Monday Night Raw or something. Honestly, you have two women in there, have Dante Fowler go, okay, ready, fight.
Yeah.
Have them go at it. I mean, that may be more entertaining than actual video.
Yeah, crazy stuff. Well, good luck to Mr. Fowler, and stay out of the limelight, man. Your career's just starting. Don't be stupid. Moving on from that, here we have a couple legal issues to talk about because, like we said, it's the off season and stuff is going on. So, Steve, I believe there's something going on. Maybe you can explain to me this issue with the NFL withholding some money.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on with this stuff?
Okay. In brief summary, how the collective bargaining agreement has a term defined called revenue, and the players and the teams split the revenue in a certain percentage. Meaning a certain percentage of the gross revenue the NFL takes in goes towards NFL salary. Now that sounds very simple and just me saying it, but the problem is the calculation of revenue is very, very, very complicated, and the definition of revenue, what is revenue, what isn't revenue, is very complicated, and they fight over it endlessly. And so what happened, and what Sean is talking about here, is that the NFL characterized a particular stream of income as non-revenue for purposes of the collective bargaining agreement, and the NFLPA said, no, you're wrong, that actually should be revenue. And so it was arbitrated, and as it turns out, it really should be revenue, and so the salary cap is going up by $100 million.
But that's split among all 32 teams.
Yeah, the growth. See, the when I say the salary cap, there's a mass pile of money that is X percentage of gross revenue that goes to the players, and it's split up 32 ways.
It's something like, what, is it 50 or 60% now? It's something around there. I know that.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't look it up before we recorded.
Okay, that's fine.
So,
but
I'll look it up.
But basically, it gives people an idea. Like it's about half.
I think it's a little less than half.
Okay.
You know what? I'll look it up before the end of the show. If I have a breaker, I'll go grab my handy dandy 300-page collective bargaining agreement and figure it out real fast.
Okay.
Basically, Steve, for the benefit of the people listening, this boils down to the NFL. You could say, in a way, maybe underreported their earnings, so that money that should have been going to the players, at least proportionally a little bit more, didn't get there because the NFL was recording it differently.
Yes, and now this is not like an accounting error. This is something where the NFL said, no, this doesn't count, and the NFLPA said, yes, this does account. Or, yes,
I
this
imagine
does
a
count.
bunch of hair-gelled accountants and lawyers sitting in a room saying, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, just having having a numbers circle jerk.
No offense to hair-gelled lawyers.
It'll go. What it boils down to is the salary cap's going to go up by like $3 million a team this year as a result of this.
Yeah, yeah.
So everyone will get
that's
like
on top of the earlier projection of what 155 or something.
Yeah,
that
it'll
they're
be a
saying.
little bit higher than that as a result of this.
Okay.
But the key here is sorry, Sean. But the key, I've been telling you guys from the beginning that the NFL is 800-pound gorilla when it comes to business negotiations, and they basically say we're going to do what we want, you do what we want because we're the NFL, and if you don't like it, too bad. This was one of those situations, because the NFL said no, it's not revenue, and we don't care what you think, it's not, and it took a whole process to get it sorted out. So this is an example of the NFL flexing its muscle and losing.
And this is interesting because in one of our first shows, by the way, guys, we're coming up on our 1-year birthday.
Yeah, we are.
Just pointing that out. But
That's
good
very
job
true.
to us.
Wow.
But it's like the end of March, so we got to do something big for that when it comes up. But in one of our first episodes, we were talking about salaries in the 4 major sports and how football players, the NFLPA, did not do a very good job negotiating for salaries like the MLB did. So that's why baseball contracts are so much higher than football. So I think it's just interesting because this is like, I guess maybe this is the NFLPA trying to recoup some of their losses from, previous bad negotiations. They're trying to get a little more money. Obviously that's what they do. But
they're trying to enforce what the CBA says. They're trying to get what they did bargain for, not get more than what they bargained for.
Okay, so this is actually basically, it's more than just a gray area. This is explicit, the NFL. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
It would be like them hiding the T-shirt sales or something. I don't remember what the revenue source was.
Neither.
But
That's what I was going to ask, is if we know what that was.
It's something along those lines. It's very obvious that you should be counting this, and they're not.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's good news for all the teams. It means everyone gets another, $3 million to spend on players.
Right.
So
every player is going to get like $100.
Speaking of players getting massive amounts of money,
HB Blades, former Redskins linebacker.
Right.
So
one of the coolest names for a linebacker.
That is an awesome name.
Well, and he's the son or the nephew of Benny Blades, who was at the University of Miami and was an NFL player. So the Redskins drafted HB Blades, and they signed him to a contract. And then back in 2012, they decided that HB's services were no longer needed, and so they cut him. And
to be fair, he wasn't very good.
He was okay. He's better than I'd be at a
He was a special teams guy.
Yeah.
We all thought he'd be the next London, but
yeah, but he wasn't.
We think everyone's going to be the next London.
So far, we haven't found him. Anyway, so as a part of his being cut, he was paid a severance payment of $40,000. That was per his contract. And then he received another $40,000. That was not a part of his contract. That was a simple accounting error. Kind of like, when we may overpay the light bill by $100, the Redskins paid $40,000 by accident.
I did that this week, actually. I accidentally paid the gas bill when I needed to pay the water bill. Oops.
There you go. So that's kind of what the Redskins, due to a clerical error, as it was called, paid another $40,000. And HB, instead of saying, well, I guess I better immediately do the Boy Scout thing and send it back, kept it. Can't blame him. And so the Redskins asked them to return it. He said no. The Redskins then filed a grievance under the collective bargaining agreement, and it went to arbitration. I told you guys when we talked collective bargaining agreement a year ago that everything goes to an arbitrator. This went to an arbitrator, and Blades actually agreed to an arbitration award of basically the take-home. He would repay the take-home amount of $40,000 because there's taxes and everything else taken out of it. Right. And so they agreed on that. The arbitrator made that award. Then he didn't do it.
So so basically HB got to keep half of it. In other words, although not really because of taxes. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, it was $23,000 was the amount that he agreed to pay back. And so after he didn't pay that back, the NFL on the 25th of February, which was this past week, filed a lawsuit to ask. By the way, and all that happened. Sorry, I should have given you dates.
It was 2 years ago or so.
Yeah, the original demand the Redskins made on Blades was January 22nd, 2014. The grievance was filed a month later, and then the arbitrator's final award came March 25th, 2015, so that was a year ago. And since HB did not pay back the money, they filed the NFL, or the Redskins rather, Pro Football Inc., which is the Washington Redskins, filed a lawsuit to ask a court to enforce the arbitrator's award, and that is where we are. An answer hasn't even been filed. Nothing has been done, but the lawsuit's been filed. So if I had to guess, my opinion, Blades is going to lose easily and quickly, and there's going to be a judgment that says he owes, instead of the $23,000 he agreed to pay, he's going to have to pay $40,000 plus attorney's fees, which he probably doesn't have. So
because he's an assistant coach at a high school right now. So,
and I'm guessing the extra money is probably gone, which is why he didn't pay it back in the first place.
Probably.
Most likely, we know how NFL players are in terms of money management. Not very good. But look, Steve, I hear all that, and I get you're a man of the law, so you're generally more unbiased about this stuff than I am. I totally see you right. I mean, the Redskins, the NFL, they're the ones who are legally right in this case.
They I don't know, though, Sean. Honestly, you think about this though. What legal obligation does HB Blades have to repay the money? There was a contract, right? The contract says he was due this amount of money. They paid it to him. They sent him extra money.
To him, right?
They sent it to him. It was a mistake. It's there's no contractual unless his contract says his contract. The Redskins said if we pay you extra money, you need to repay it.
Right.
Unless it has that provision, I'm not sure what obligation he really had to repay it, except as per the CBA. So he probably looked at it like that. He probably said, well, heck, I don't have to repay this. It's a gift.
I mean, I've heard stories before from people about similar things happening, and sometimes you can't go after them. Like, if your accountant makes the mistake, it's on you.
Right.
And
But
I'm sure certain states it's different, because I'm sure there's state laws involved.
Well,
Oh,
this
of
is
course.
federal law because there's a union and a collective bargaining agreement.
Okay.
But Steve, I mean, you just said that you imagined he's going to lose probably quickly, and
Well,
and
the
handle
reason
it.
is because of what the lawsuit is. The lawsuit is asking a court to enforce an arbitrator's award.
Right.
So that's an easy slam dunk done. He's gonna lose.
Which I get. Now here's my question to you guys though, because it seems to me like even though they probably are entitled to that money and they're going to win the case and getting in enforcing the arbitration agreement, how much money is Dan Snyder going to pay for lawyers' fees? How much money does he pay to keep these guys on retainer? A lot more than $40,000.
Well,
So
and concerning the law firm, I know who this law firm is. New York, he's probably paying, $800 to $1,000 an hour for these folks.
it's so quickly going to be, Trump, whatever they stand to win from this. So is this just them being
Not
a
if
bully?
Dan Snyder wins and he makes him pay his lawyer fees.
Right.
See, so they're going to go after like a public school, high school coach for $40,000 plus legal fees. God damn, we picked a team to root for, didn't we, guys?
Of course, we're talking about a team that sued a grandma because she didn't want to keep paying for her club seats, remember?
Right.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I mean, that's just
No one ever accused Dan Snyder of being rational.
Right, I mean, that's just crazy. And it reminds me of that story of, Bruce Allen, walking through the meeting with all the owners and threatening people, and Dan Snyder just kind of sitting there, spinning in his chair. That's what it reminds me of. He's like, it's just like a total
it is a
bully.
great mental image of that, though.
Yeah, it's just like a total bully move, and like, it's just, there's nothing more atypically Redskins than that.
I mean, I could understand why they're doing it, especially after the arbitration came back with what I would say is a very fair, reasonable, hey, pay half back and we're good.
Right.
And he welches on that. I'm a man who, I don't welch on my debts to people. So maybe that biases me when I hear about a guy not paying back what he owes.
Right.
I
you have a principled problem with
for
that.
everything.
Sure.
So I have no problem with what Snyder's doing for a change.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess what I'm saying is I don't philosophically either, but I just think it's a shame, considering who the target of his lawsuit is. Leave the guy alone. He's probably broke as shit. He's teaching in high school, and it's $40,000. You're going to spend more than that going after him. So even though you're right, just let it go, Dan. Let it go, man.
I get your point. I mean, honestly, because Dan Snyder's a billionaire. The Redskins are making, millions and millions and millions of dollars a year. This poor H.B. Blades was a, backup player for us for a couple years, lived his dream.
And they
got
made
cut.
the mistake.
Yeah, they made a mistake. And he's a, did you say, Alex, he was a high school football coach?
Assistant coach.
So he's not even
Ouch.
the head coach, so he's
He
making no
didn't
money
even get
whatsoever.
the head coach.
Jesus. Well, someone pointed this out to me. A lot of high schools have you have to be a teacher to be a head coach job kind of thing.
Fucking technicalities,
Yeah,
man.
a lot of schools have that rule.
I mean, Robbie, you did some coaching, right? I'm assuming, or did you do middle school or something?
No, I was a high school assistant coach.
Yeah.
But you weren't on the payroll either, right?
Yeah,
Were
I
you
was.
oh, you were? Okay.
Actually coached with Marcus Washington.
Oh, that's cool.
And so
You may
why
remember that
has Marcus Washington not been on this show, I must ask?
Yeah.
He's busy.
What gives, man? Too busy for us? Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Must be crazy,
He was-
man.
He was last I saw him, he was getting married.
Oh, good for him.
He was busy with that and all.
If he doesn't care about the hog sty, I don't know what to tell him.
Yeah. Well, speaking of other people who don't care about the Hogsty or the Redskins, let's spin the wheel of who hates us this week, and let's see who it lands on. Oh, it's London. It's the city of London and the country of England. They hate us, guys, and if you haven't been following along with this at home, we'll just break it down for you real quick.
Yeah.
Basically, and Alex, you have a better spiel about this, so you can clarify, but politicians in England aren't so happy about the Redskins coming to town, am I right?
Right. There's two parliamentarians. I don't know what party they're for, and I don't know the English party system as well as I should. So, I'm assuming that they're part of the Labour Party, just best guess.
Bunch of liberal hippies.
Well, in England, the Conservative Party is more liberal than our Democrats now. So what do you want?
Right.
But I'm assuming that it's two parliamentarians from the left have written a letter to the NFL saying they are unhappy with the Redskins being the team selected to play in London because of the name, and they're asking the NFL to either make the Redskins use a different name or to basically find a different team. To top it off, the stadium, Wembley Stadium, they have certain bylaws at that stadium that are about being anti-racism because it's a soccer stadium, and we all know soccer is actually the most racist sport in the world. Not many people want to talk about it, but it is.
Yeah.
No, I believe it. It's the most global, and it's the crazy things happen in the wakes of big
Soccer hooligans
games.
are just blatant racists. So, they have laws saying they don't tolerate any kind of racial slurs or discrimination at the stadium.
Somebody
So
tell
the
me why the
stadium's also
heck I
talking
should
about
care
this.
about what some stupid British politicians think.
Well, the politicians thing, it's
They're,
just...
they're
you know,
and
them
it's
being
not all. It's
politicians.
2 of them. Okay, how many hundreds
Yeah.
hundreds of members of
I
parliament
don't think
are
they
there?
have hundreds. I don't think they're as big as, like, Congress.
Okay, well, there's got to be a couple hundred
Still.
of them, right? There's
Yeah.
not 5 people governing, Great Britain. So there's
No,
a
they
significant
have
number
a
of them.
queen, they have the House of Lords, they have this other weird stuff.
Right. So I don't know why I care. You know what?
Well-
Deal with it. You want the NFL, take the Redskins.
Look,
Screw
I
you,
don't
who
think
cares?
we should
That's my attitude.
bring up this topic every time someone writes an article complaining about the name.
Right.
But, a couple politicians requesting that the Redskins not play, I think just passes the threshold of meriting as news.
Well, I
So
don't know
that's
why they care, more
And
importantly,
deserves
okay?
a face palm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
well,
not even, and the issue is unique to North America.
it fairly...
It's not a British issue.
Yeah, it kind of
Correct.
is. There was one line in their complaint where it said, "We don't want Native Americans brought overseas and represented this way." And I can't help being a history nerd thinking back to like John Rolfe and bringing Pocahontas over here as his wife a little bit,
Nice.
and being like, "Yeah, you already brought the Native Americans over there, and you didn't do
Well,
a very good job then."
And Columbus brought them over as slaves, in
Yeah,
1492.
well, that was Spain.
Yeah, I know, but I mean,
Still,
Europe is
depends
not
on the
innocent
hands.
here. By the way,
no.
the player split of gross revenue is 47%. So
It's 47. Okay,
Yeah.
I knew it was around 50. I thought
Yeah.
it was on the other side, but I was wrong. Whatever.
Well, how about this, guys? How about we agree to go to London, we agree to change the name, and we just become, for a weekend, the Washington Redcoats, and it'll be a big picture of a dude with big, ugly horse teeth. And
I got a better one for you. Why don't we become the George Washington kicked your redcoat asses?
That
Yeah.
was what I was thinking, because the Redcoats actually lost the war, if you recall.
That's right.
So I don't really
Yeah,
want to
why
be a
don't we-
loser.
Why don't we, put George Washington's face on the side of the helmet? They'll all shit themselves because they're British.
right.
Or just a cherry tree. It's easier.
No, it
The
should be
Washington
Washington.
cherry
It should be a blood-stained, blood-drenched Washington standing over dead British soldiers sleeping in their beds.
It's a ripped, giant, Arnold-looking George Washington.
Yes, yes. If George Washington and Schwarzenegger had a love child,
He's
that is
doing
what our
the
mascot
Virginia
should be.
SEAL thing. He's standing over him with a spear.
Yeah. See, I like it. See, I think we should just get offensive again, but get offensive towards British people because, if you're going to be that sissy about it, then
Right.
deal with
I think the British need to worry about Britain. Don't worry about the name of the Washington football team, okay? Worry about
Yeah.
issues go along in Great Britain, because there's problems there, okay?
Yeah.
It's a fine place. If you've ever been there, it's a decent place, fun place to go to,
Sure.
but it's not without problems. So focus on your own problems and don't worry about the NFL. That's
Yeah.
my advice.
But keep on making delicious fish and chips because those are good.
it. Yes, we
They are
enjoy
good.
those. I
And
mean, the
beer.
last, yeah,
Or
I mean,
fish and fries.
Yes.
fish and fries.
Yeah, they're fries.
Well, chips are fries. And
Fries are
chips over there are crisps.
That's right.
They're fries.
They're all back ass words over there. Well, anyways, I think it's just relevant because, once again, Washington gets bad press. It's over the name, and now it's coming from another country. And I just have to say, before we move on, did you guys not foresee this happening? Like, wasn't there a time over this last year that we were going to be playing there twice? So, like, why are you just thinking of this now? I don't know.
I hope we don't play there at all, personally.
Me too.
I'd rather the Redskins, stay home.
I agree.
Well, I don't mind it because if the
Plus, they
Redskins
play
game
like
is at
9 o'clock in the
9:30
morning.
Yeah,
right.
if they play at 9, well, that just means we can have brunch and watch the game and get drunk earlier.
You mean
know?
tea and crumpets? Yeah.
Or
It's just a
Newcastle
hassle. I mean,
or-
the Redskins don't do well with different. How many years have we
true.
had problems in prime time and problems on Thursday night games? We get smoked
year.
in front of a national audience. Yeah. And so now we're going to go to London.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? I'd rather just stick to what we know.
I agree. I could do with
in
that.
my ideal world,
I
every
want-
football game would be at 1 o'clock on a Sunday.
I want the game called by a British duo. You know,
We wouldn't be able to understand him. That's the problem.
and that's an excellent pass by Kirk Cousins for the touchdown.
Wouldn't it be funny if they called it soccer?
Yeah, it has to be the guy from FIFA that does a lot of the announcing. That British dude.
I'm wondering
That
if
would be
Kirk Cousins. It's a touchdown, not goal.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if Kirk Cousins is going to be our quarterback next year. What do y'all think?
Yeah,
I
so
think
this is the next topic. It's another money topic, but yeah, let's get into it. I think it sounds like it's going to happen. I mean, it sounds like that's a foregone conclusion, right, guys?
Well, it's what were the rumors Friday were we're definitely going to tag him, and now people are saying, well, what if we only transition tag him and we decide we want to trade him?
Exactly. I think that's what it's coming down to is the franchise or the transition. Exactly.
Ian Rappaport was saying that they're considering all options, like tagging and trading is very much on the table, with everything
I
else.
don't see that happening.
See, the rumor mill is going crazy because I read like Lachlan Forer, Schefter, I can't remember who it was, saying he will definitely remain on this team. The Redskins are just holding out to try to get as team-friendly a deal, which we speculated they would, as they can.
Basically, they're doing their job right.
Right.
Well, I didn't even, when I wrote that Cousins salary cap article, I didn't even put in the thought that they might franchise or transition tag him.
Right.
But as it turned, because I was just maybe too hopeful. I don't know.
Right.
But that clearly for the team would be the best thing. The transition tag, for those of you who don't, I know you guys know, but for those of you out there who don't know, the salary is lower on it. The exclusive franchise tag says nobody else can sign with, he can't sign with anybody else, period. The non-exclusive tag means he can go out and get a deal with another team, and if we don't match it, we get 2 first-round picks from that team. The transition tag is basically a right of first refusal, wherein he can go out and sign with another team, but we get the right to match the contract. The difference is that the exclusive franchise tag is the average of the salary is the average of the top 5 players at that position for the past year. Yep. The non-exclusive tag is the average of the top 5 players in that position for the past 5 years.
Right, so
it's a little bit less.
The transition, a couple million in the end is.
But the transition tag is lower. The transition tag is the top 10. So it's a lower salary. So it would be better if we if we transition tagged him, we'd pay him a lower amount. And like as Sean and I at least have been preaching, if someone else goes and offers him $80 bazillion, we just go sayonara. Right.
Yeah. Thanks for the first round picks.
Right.
Yeah.
No, we don't get. You don't get any picks for the transition tag. You don't get the first round picks. That's only for the non-exclusive tag. So we wouldn't get picks.
Gotcha.
But still, I mean, again, that allows him, if he wants to go out and get some massive deal from pick a team, Houston or wherever,
right?
And it just blows our salary cap up.
Right.
Goodbye. We'll start Colt McCoy, or whatever, someone else.
Yeah. So
or Christian Hackenberg.
Yeah, there you go, Christian Hackenberg. He was terrible yesterday, I thought.
Yeah,
so
well,
too.
let's get into potentials for quarterbacks because I think that's definitely a big topic of conversation. But I want to ask you guys this first before we go into combine stuff. I mean, now that it's actually happening and it's clear that Cousins is holding out for as much money as possible, how are you guys feeling about this situation and how it's turning out? And I just wanted to say too, I think Steve, just to clarify, of the tag options, it's the transition that's ideal, but most ideal for the team would be to sign him to a long-term team-friendly deal now.
Yeah, I'm just talking about if you're going to tag him.
Yeah, which sounds like it is going to happen. Yeah, so now that this is actually coming to fruition, this is exactly what we predicted. He's going to hold a lot of cards and a lot of leverage in these negotiations. He's going to hold out for money. How are you guys feeling about how that's shaping up?
Well, I'm fine with it.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's what we expect.
Yeah, it's what we expect, and just people need to... I think the Twitter universe and the NFL rumor universe has gone crazy over this. You got to remember, this is a business negotiation like any other. Okay, there's starts and stops, and just because 2 parties are on the phone and then they hang up the phone does not mean they've stopped talking. Okay, it means there's not talking at this very moment in time. That does not mean they're not continuing to negotiate. It's going to continue to negotiate. But I've been in a lot of business negotiations, and typically things don't happen until they have to. Yeah. Because one side starts off on high, one side starts off low. They don't really they don't really think they have to bend. You know, like I've been in a lot of mediations. You know, and a mediation is when, you know, two parties, one party's in one room, one party's in the other room. They have a business dispute, and then the mediator goes back and forth and says, okay, the other side wants this, the other side wants this. Well, what happens is you sit there all day long, and when it gets to be about 10 o'clock at night, and people are sick and tired of it, that's when it happens. They'll go, okay, let's just make a deal and get out of here. That is the same thing as what's happening now, okay? You know, when it gets closer to the deadline, you know, the first deadline meaning March, is it 1st or the 9th where the tag has to be
I think
applied?
now it's the 9th.
I think you're right. I think it's the 9th.
Yeah.
When you get closer to that, there's going to be a flare-up, and then if they tag him, it's not going to be until, you know, July 15th is the magic day for the franchise tag stuff. So it'll be closer to July 15th. So, because he can participate in camp, you know,
Right.
and not camp, in the OTAs and everything. You know,
right.
it's just training camp. You know, he couldn't participate in. So
I would be willing
relax.
to put money down on the fact that he'll be here next year. I don't think he's getting traded. I don't think they're gonna, you know, screw this up. So
Right.
the only thing that may happen is if they transition tag him and some team goes nuts, you know, and then they just have to let him go. That's the
if
only thing
Houston
that could
offers
happen.
him $25 million, okay,
Yeah.
I get that.
But I think they'd be crazy too. I mean, y'all saw my analysis. He's not worth it.
Yeah.
He's not worth
No.
that much money.
No,
probably
I
not.
mean, which is why I think you're right. It's the transition tag makes sense because no one's you know, you're going to sign him for less money. You're going to be able to keep him, and no one's going to trade you picks for
Two
rights
First
to him.
rounders, no.
And
Right.
I don't want to get into this today, maybe, but the thing that kind of drives me nuts is we've been talking so much about Kirk Cousins. We have other free agents, and not a word has come out about any of them being re-signed or anything.
Yeah, you're right. The quarterback, as always, takes precedent in Washington. But should we talk a little bit about who else is on the block?
I mean, I didn't really prepare on it. It just popped in my head right now.
I mentioned a few names in the intro. I think the biggest ones would be Knighton,
Right.
Alfred Morris, obviously Hatcher. Yep, and
Well, Hatcher's more of
Alfred
a-
Morris. Let's talk about Alfred Morris. Can we hit? I think we need to probably move on to the combine because there's so much stuff. But real
Yeah,
quick,
sure.
Alfred Morris, because there, you know, there were some words that came from Bruce Allen that seemed to indicate he was gone, and then later, you know, it seems like they would kind of welcome him back. You know, I don't know what's going to happen with Alfred Morris.
Well, you heard what his
Dead
agent
air
said, right?
silence.
No, he's not going to be here. I don't
No.
think he's going to be here. I think he's going to go to a team like Houston that can use him in the same type of scheme that he's used to, that zone scheme, you know, single cut type thing.
Yeah, which obviously he had so much more. I mean, the drop-off is pretty obvious when you compare the two different
Right.
schemes that he ran under. Salary-wise, the thing about Morris is they're probably going to be able to get him for a great amount of money. I mean, you're not going to have to overpay for him, and there's great value in a player like that who kind of played in and underachieved, but still has that strength and talent. Theoretically, I don't know if he does. You know, maybe he really is dropping off, but
Well, the thing that I think people need to look at is his agent came out and said the Redskins ran him into the ground. And
Yeah.
he was
I
like,
hadn't heard that.
yeah, his agent was basically complaining about how the team ruined Alfred Morris's career by running the ball with him so much early on.
I agree with that kind of.
I mean, I
Well,
kind
it's
of
not
agree
like
with
Mike
it, but
Shanahan
also-
doesn't have.
I-
Mike Shanahan has a history of that.
Yeah, but I also think, what kind of dumbass agent do you hire that says that publicly?
Right.
You know, right before free agency.
Yeah, this guy's done. It's your fault.
Right.
He's never going to be able to play
don't
again.
pay a lot of money to my client because he is done.
The Redskins just fucked him up. Yeah.
Speaking of somebody on the bubble, Junior Gillette today, I don't know if you guys heard this, but he fired his agent.
Oh.
He fired his agent because he doesn't like where the negotiations are right now between the
Interesting.
Redskins.
Didn't
Gillette-
hear
What
that.
that
basically-
means.
He says him and his agent were on the same page, and he fired him. Basically, Gillette says he wants a one-year deal that's fair, and he really wants to be here. He says, we'll see what happens. This is from the Post. Mike Jones just put this up about like 10 minutes ago.
Wow.
He said, we'll see what happens, but I really want to play alongside Ryan Kerrigan, and I've seen the way that Chris Baker emerged as an elite interior defensive lineman.
Right.
I've never had that. And Preston Smith is about to be elite real soon. We could do something really special, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, he's been tweeting a lot since he got on social media, which was just this week.
I'd like to
Yeah.
point out that his Twitter, it took us a year to get up to about 1,200 Twitter followers. He did it in a day.
Well, Steve, we're not NFL players.
And he's
I don't feel too
verified.
bad.
Yeah.
I don't feel too bad about that. We should get verified, though. By the way, that's a good point.
I don't think you can get verified as a podcast. I think it's a celebrity thing.
I think anybody can
bullshit.
get verified.
Really?
I think anybody can get. Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Well, look, I agree. Let's do the combine. But as far as Gillette goes, the dude's making what, $750,000 or something like that. I mean, he's a steal.
Like
so give him a little bit more. You know what? Double that. If that's the deal you got to get to keep him, I mean, that's nothing. That's nothing.
He's going to add. He's going to add so much to that defense when he's there.
Exactly.
Well, plus, he tattooed a massive Redskins symbol on his, on his shoulder, so it'd be a real shame for it to be wasted.
Yeah,
that would be awkward.
Sign him to a 1 year. Give him $3 million.
It's like tattooing your girlfriend's name on your arm or something.
Yeah.
Right before she dumps you.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Don't want to do that.
or runs you into the ground. Exactly. Yeah. Well, look, I hope that he stays on this roster. I think, like Robbie said, he has a lot to offer, and he's such a steal price-wise. If you got to give him some more money, do it. I can't believe that those negotiations wouldn't be progressing, but oh well. Let's move on to the Combine then and talk about some of these other players, these up-and-comers that could be finding their way to the Redskins.
Finally, the good
roster.
stuff.
Yes,
Finally.
the good stuff.
Sorry,
this is where,
everybody.
Yeah, we
was
made
bored
our
a little bit,
reputation. No, we made our reputation doing this stuff in the offseason last year, so let's do it again.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
We have been talking. We let's see. Steve, I actually believe you have some notes on quarterback prospects, and since we just talked about Cousins, maybe we could start there.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I watched all of the quarterback stuff yesterday. And clearly the Redskins are not in the market for a top of the draft, quarterback, obviously. I wasn't that impressed with any of these quarterbacks at all. In terms of the top of the draft ones, I don't think any of them are great. But the guy that kind of stuck out in my head as a possible late-round pick for us was Brandon Doty from Western Kentucky. I thought he had the knock. He has a ton of yardage. He passed for 5,055 yards in a season. It's crazy. He put up just crazy numbers. The knock on him is that his arm strength is weak. But in terms of yesterday at the Combine, he made all the throws. He was very accurate. Looked like he moved, well. So I think he'd be, a good system guy. He's 6'3", good height. I think he'd be a great West Coast offense system guy. So I think, there is my amateur, without any basis whatsoever, look for him as a late round pick for us.
Well, I'm a big fan of measurables, like numbers and stuff when it comes to how guys are intangibles wise, speed, strength, and all that. And Jeff Driscoll, the Louisiana Tech quarterback, ran a 4.56 40. Beat everybody by like 0.2 of a second.
4.56. You said?
Yeah, 4.56.
So that puts him on par with a lot of the running backs.
Yeah.
I know that's around what
he's
Henry
faster
ran.
He's faster than the majority of the wide receivers this class, by the way.
Wow, really?
Yes.
The wide receivers were very slow.
Interesting.
All of them.
All right, so the fastest wide receiver was Will Fuller from Notre Dame, the wide receiver.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
After that was a 4.32. After that was Colby Listenby. He was a 4.39, and then after that there's a couple of 4.4s, but then it gets to like 4.5, a lot of 4.5s, a lot of 4.6s, and even a couple 4.7s and a couple 4.8s. So if you're looking for speed in this draft class, it's not very good.
You know what I saw in the wide receiver group? A lot of them had great hands. There were a lot of real natural pass catchers in that group, I thought. There weren't a lot of guys that just, couldn't catch well. Most of them caught the ball with their hands. They weren't letting them get it into their body. They all did pretty well in that gauntlet drill, where the quarterback's down on either side and throw balls as they're running across the field. It makes me – and other than Will Turner, who ran a 4.3 – like you said, they're all kind of slow. It makes me wonder if they're a bunch of possession receivers.
That's what it looks like. Yeah. The couple guys that stuck out to me for receivers was Oklahoma's receiver, Sterling Shepard. He looked very solid.
Mm-hmm.
He did.
So did TCU's receiver, Josh Dotson, or Doxson, however you want to pronounce it. Both of them ran about a 4.5. Sterling Shepard was like just under 4.5. Braxton Miller, by the way, ran a 4.5. He looked pretty good. But
to me, that tells me that a lot of these receivers will probably fall. Then, if you don't have a lot of speed guys in there.
Yeah, there's no like elite, top receiver in this draft.
Calvin
I don't
Johnson
think.
is not there.
Well, there are a lot of big guys. I know that there are a lot of guys who are like 6'3" plus, which is what the Redskins have been saying they need anyway.
Right.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, you got to have some speed though. We can't have a guy
right.
out there running a 4.7.
No. I'm not suggesting that. Unless he's like 6'7", I don't. You know, and then I don't care.
The top two guys in my book of these receivers is Michael Thomas from Ohio State and Laquan Treadwell.
Okay.
Treadwell, a lot of people say he didn't run the 40, but a lot of people expect him when he runs at his pro day, it's going to be like a 4.6. He's not a fast receiver.
He's not a measurables guy at all. He's not going to have the numbers, but I think I've seen him as the consensus number one receiver overall, even with the slow 40 time.
Yeah. He draws a lot of comparisons to Alshon Jeffrey from the Bears.
Can you go into some detail about? Oh, sorry. Can you go into detail about Braxton Miller? I mean, he's kind of the sexy pick, that everybody's begging over.
Yeah, Braxton is interesting, man. I'm very intrigued by him, like as a mid to second to third round, maybe even fourth round, depending on where he goes. But he's just so raw as a receiver. Like you go back and watch him at his practices in the Senior Bowl. He was running these really nice routes and making DBs fall over and break their ankles. But a lot of those routes like took too long, and he did too many double moves. Just too many flashy stuff that wasn't really technical wide receiver stuff. He still has a lot to learn, but he's a hell of an athlete and would be a great playmaker for our offense, I would think.
Plus, he played quarterback for 2 years.
Yeah,
because you know what,
a couple Randall L. reverse pass plays again.
There you go.
We've been down the road of guy with great hands, runs great routes, but and Ryan Grant. And everybody thought Ryan Grant was the greatest thing because, he's so polished as a receiver. But let me tell you, I mean, you guys know this. Receivers have to be able to explode, right? You have to be able to separate in the NFL. You have to have a baseline. You don't have to, not everybody can be Darryl Green, in terms of speed. But you have to have a baseline level of quickness that will allow you to separate from DBs. And, like, Ryan Grant doesn't have it. He's not going to have it. No. He doesn't have it now. He's never going to have it.
As nice as it is to run a crisp route, you also need to be able to find that space.
That's exactly right.
You look at what Crowder does. I don't know if Crowder's ever running the right route.
He runs like a 4.56. He's not like a huge burner either. But he's quick.
Right.
I think
he's explosive.
I think to Alex's point earlier too, you either need the speed or you need to be able to consistently win matchups with size. Yep. So that's the obvious statement. Yeah, exactly. That's the obvious statement of the day, but it makes sense. If you ain't got that speed, you better be tall and big and able to, win with physicality. Otherwise, you're just, you're just a normal dude.
Right.
Yep, just a jag.
Yep. And, there is a place in the NFL for just a jag type receivers that's your fourth receiver on most teams. But,
Yeah.
And obviously, we've talked about this before, but D-line is a big need for us. We need some young defensive linemen. We need some guys that can get to the quarterback from the interior.
And this is a good draft for it.
And this is absolutely the best draft in a long time for defensive tackle or 3-4 DNs, so to speak. Let's see. In my opinion, I've looked at all of them. I'm discounting the edge players like Joey Bosa or
the 250 guys.
Noah Spence. Yeah, the edge rushers guys.
Right.
If I had to say a top 5, it'd be DeForest Buckner from Oregon. He draws a lot of comparisons to Calais Campbell for the Cardinals. Same frame, 6'7", same body weight. Very disruptive, very hard to block when he plays low. He's going to be an all-pro player, I think. After him, I have a lot of people. This guy draws a lot of controversy, but it's Robert Nkemdiche from Ole Miss. He's got everything. He's got all the tools to be a really good defensive lineman, like a great defensive lineman.
But he's the one with the troubled record off the field, right?
Yep. Yeah. Fell out of the 4-story hotel window.
Ugh.
Which he blamed on drinking because, obviously, I don't think anyone jumps out a window sober.
Yeah.
Yeah. So needless to say, he's a head case. He's got his off the field trouble plus his on the field production could have been a lot better.
He's very inconsistent, right? I mean,
he's very
Mike Mayock
inconsistent.
kept talking about inconsistency from play to play and game to game.
I mean, that worries me. That you're talking about crazy off the field and inconsistent. That sounds like Albert Hainsworth to me.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good combo.
No, but when you look at pure talent and potential, he's through the charts.
You know what?
He's off
For
the
me,
charts.
there's no way I would draft him in the first round. Way too much of a risk. From what I saw today, from what I saw, I don't know if you saw have you seen his workout yet from the combine, Robbie? Did
I saw his 40 run. I haven't seen his real stuff yet.
He looks great in the drills. He moves well. He's clearly an outstanding natural athlete. It looked great. No complaints. But if you combine his knuckleheadedness,
with his inconsistencies,
apparently he had with his inconsistencies, and he had a poor interview. From what the guys on NFL Network were saying today, he kind of blamed his teammates a little bit. He didn't take responsibility for the incident with the marijuana thing.
That's no good.
So I think it's way too much of a risk. I think he's. If I were the Redskins, he would not be on my board for the first round or two.
Yeah, I'm with you for
like
the same. I'm with you for the same reasons, though. I know that Robbie's right. People speak very highly of it. It's Kim Diche. That's how you say it.
Kim Diche. Yeah.
Kim Diche. Yeah, people do speak very highly of him. I was just watching his highlights, working on those slides we put together. So yeah, I mean he gets after it. He's a top dude.
When he wants to be, he could be, on J.J. Watt's level, but he doesn't do it all the time. He takes plays off, doesn't chase the ball. It's
next
effort stuff.
Yeah.
So you had Buckner, you had Kim Diche. Who else do you have?
After him is Sheldon Rankins from Louisville.
Okay.
He's he's very much like Geno Atkins for the Bengals. He's a pass rushing defensive lineman. He's disruptive. He gets into the backfield. He's got all kinds of moves to get in the backfield. He's a big favorite of mine. I like defensive linemen that get to the quarterback, and he's good at it. He is very good at it. He's got a really good spin move that he'll use every now and then, and it's like Dwight Freeney style. Just same type of ice pick move. He gets his hand behind the guy. He can't get back to it. It's really impressive. And then after him is Andrew Billings from Baylor. He's a 6 foot tall, about 3'11", 310.
So a little bit of a
he's a bowling ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a wrecking ball.
Nice.
He had a good day today too, or not? Yeah, it was today, wasn't it?
Yes.
Earlier today, he ran about a 5:05 official 40-yard dash, which is pretty good for his size.
Yeah. Imagine if we had him and Galette and just guys that are big and athletic in that interior. That would be sick nasty. Nasty.
Yeah. He's got really good film. You go watch his tape. He is a monster.
Is he now at that size? Is he more of a one gap guy, or is he a two gap guy, or does he go back and forth?
I think he'd be a perfect 2-gap nose guard.
Okay.
Or nose tackle. A lot of people say nose tackle now. I was born and raised like saying nose guard, but anyway.
Yeah. Well,
he'd be
tackles what everyone says now.
Yeah, nose guard sounds like something you wear while you're playing football.
True.
No, to me, a nose guard is like 1980s frozen tundra type.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah,
of course, we're a one-gap system, though, right? I mean,
yeah, we are.
Do we need a two-gap nose tackle?
Yeah, he could. I still be very disruptive in one gap, but I think he'd be a great 2-gap nose tackle because he's quick, he's agile, plus he's got the size and short stature to be a good nose guard because he's already lower than the other guy in most cases. After him is I really like Vernon Butler. He's a kind of a under the radar kind of guy, but he's big and powerful from Louisiana Tech. There's a highlight I posted on Twitter a long time ago. He just straight up lifted the guard that was trying to block him during the Senior Bowl game. Just lifted him up, like in the air for like about a little under a foot, but just tossed him like a rag doll to get the sack in the Senior Bowl. It was very impressive. And after that, I watched his film, and he's a wrecking machine. He is very hard to move. He's very strong, very powerful. But the thing is, like we've mentioned, this defensive tackle class is so deep. It's so hard to make an actual top 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, Robbie. 2 guys that flashed for me today in the defensive tackle group: Kenny Clark and Sheldon Day. from Sheldon Day from Notre Dame, Kenny Clark from UCLA. What do you think of those two guys? They looked very good to me. I mean, my non-expert eyes, in terms of their movement, you know, they were crisp in their movements. They had great balance, great strength. They hit the dummy, you know, great. What do you think of those two guys?
When I see Sheldon Day, he's a very explosive. He's got a great first step off the line, and he can move really well. But I feel like he needs to play stronger or get stronger. He kind of gets moved around a lot in the running game, but he's really good at rushing the quarterback and you know, just being disruptive in the passing game. Kenny Clark is more, you know, he's kind of a run stuffer, but he's also, you know, more agile and quick than the Alabama guys, Ashawn Robinson and Jaron Reed. Both of those guys are basically true run stoppers, not very good at getting to the quarterback.
Well,
so he's
we could use a run stopper. So let's not knock that totally.
No, I know, but I watch them on film. They flash here and there, but most of the other times I just see them in the middle of everything, you know, just eating space, which is not a bad thing, but they're not dominant like I look for, you know. For these guys to be a first rounders, you know, they got to be like they got to be one of the top guys out there, and I just don't see it, you know. Reggie Ragland shows more on film than they do to me. Well, they're the linebacker.
So here's my big question. Since it is such a deep draft, Robbie, if you were to take any of these guys you're talking about and say, we might be able to still get them into the second round, is there anybody who kind of sticks out that would be, we could probably plug them in as a starter or a heavy contributor right away, but they'd be a second-round pick?
Yeah, how about Chris Jones, Preston Smith's boy from Mississippi State?
Okay.
He is very much under the radar too. He's huge, big and powerful, very raw. He's like Preston Smith if he was a defensive end, basically. You know, big body, same type of player. Just so much raw potential. And there's another guy that I need to watch more of. He showed really well today in the combine. He's the Florida defensive tackle. What's his name? Jonathan Bullard. He ran a 4.93.
I don't know that name.
Oh,
he ran a 4.93 40.
Wow.
And he moved really well. He looks solid. I need to watch his film more. A lot of people say he could be a late first rounder as well. So we got tons of guys that could go in the late first round. It's unbelievable.
Plus Kimdiche, if teams get scared away from the off the field stuff, he could totally drop, and then it might be worth picking him up because you can get a steal for him.
Yeah, in a later. Robbie, one more guy I thought was intriguing was Hassan Ridgeway from Texas. What do you think? What do you think of him? What's your evaluation?
Actually hadn't watched any of him yet. There's just been so many other people to watch. I haven't even taken the time to watch him.
Put him on your radar scope because I thought he had a pretty good showing today as well. You know, he ran a 5.02 40, you know, which is pretty good. You know, 24 reps on the bench press, but in the drills, I thought he looked good.
Let's talk about the linebackers real quick. There's some really good linebacker prospects in this draft too. We've mentioned the top two, Jalen Smith and Miles Jack, which I don't think we're going to have a chance to draft. Jalen Smith, maybe, because of his injury concern. It's getting comparisons to Marcus Lattimore's knee injury.
Ouch.
Doesn't Miles Jack have a knee injury right now, too, though?
Yeah, he does, but he's far ahead in his recovery than Jalen Smith is.
Jeez, Lattimore's injury, just even bringing that up as a comparison freaks me out. That was nasty.
Yeah, it's awful, yeah. But we need inside linebackers, right? So what do you think?
We do. The immediate person that jumps off the board here that we hadn't talked about yet, who's very surprising. I mean, he looked fast on film, but to see the number in print, Darren Lee from Ohio State ran a 4.47.
Wow. Holy moly. How big is he?
He's 6'1", 232.
So pretty mighty. A little tiny, but, you know, good weight.
That dude is faster than most of the wide receivers in this class.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's in the top he's in the top 10 at least of that receiver class speed-wise. But I mean, and he also led in the broad jump and vertical jump actually, or no,
so
he didn't lead in that.
He's just a freak athlete playing linebacker.
He jumped 11.1, I want to say, for the broad jump, and that's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
Wow. He's flying.
A lot of people that talk about linebackers also bring up Reggie Ragland from Alabama. I kind of mentioned him earlier. He, see, I don't know. He's not I don't think the linebacker we're looking for. This is not the linebacker you're looking for.
What is he, more of like just a big run stuffer type? Or?
He's a run stopper. He's a thumper. You know, he'll come down and hit you. He's very much like Brandon Spikes, but just maybe a little bit more athletic. He can run sideline to sideline, but he's not going to chase anybody down.
Sure.
I wouldn't be upset if we got him, but not in the first round. Not for me.
I think we're going to hear a lot about him because he's from he's from Alabama and
right.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of Redskins. He's a name,
Gotcha.
He's a big name, but I'm not as impressed with him as I am like Darren Lee or the guy I mentioned before in a couple episodes, Jatavis Brown. The guy is like really short and very light, but he ran like a 4.4 40 as well. Very instinctive, very fast, very. He comes down and hits you hard.
Right.
But the comparison I wanted to mention about Darren Lee is basically he's Bobby Wagner. I see a Bobby Wagner in Darren Lee.
Okay.
So let's jump to. There's one guy in this draft that I love, and I'm told because I'm a sucker for this. A 250-pound running back who's got real speed in Henry from Alabama.
Yeah, and won a Heisman, right?
Yeah. Well, that's always a red flag, I guess, for the NFL.
Yeah, that works out not so great.
Yeah. What do you think of the running backs? Because what do we need to go with Jones? Do we want a speedster, or do we need somebody who's going to be a little more physical?
We want thunder, thunder, and thunder.
Thunder, thunder, and thunder?
Yeah.
Thunder?
Yeah. The combination of Jones and Derrick Henry would be insane, by the way.
I guess I'm the only one that's not impressed with Matt Jones.
No, I'm not talking like talent-wise. I'm talking just size and,
physicality.
Hard to bring down, physicality.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Yeah, but Derrick Henry is very enticing. He's got the measurables that are through the roof. 6'3", almost 6'4", 247. Ran like a 4.5 40. He's a Mack truck. He is a god amongst men. Out there when he was in the combine with those running backs, he looked like a linebacker out there with them. It was funny.
Nice. You got to think, though. I see the appeal of a guy like that, but I think the thing that we were missing really was breakaway speed in the running back position. So does it really make sense?
I don't know. We were missing a guy. We were missing a guy who could actually find the hole and hit it.
Yeah.
Well, that's true too. That's definitely true too.
Yeah,
but neither one of those guys is going to bowl you over with their speed. I guess Matt Jones surprised everybody because he was fast for his size. But yeah. I think after we lost to Lou, we didn't really have that change of pace back.
Yeah,
and Chris Thompson maybe.
Thompson,
that guy.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Thompson, yeah.
The other back that's big in name wise is Ezekiel Elliott. He ran a 4.47. Right. It's pretty decent for a running back. It's not elite or anything, but it fits. Because Elliott is. 6 foot, 225. He's a big running back too. So to run a sub 4.5 is pretty good.
Yeah. And I'm hearing he could potentially be a top 10 pick. So
the Giants could easily take him. They need a running back, but I don't know. The thing that stuck out to me the most about the running backs, from what I saw, is none of them can catch. There were so many drop balls when they were running routes and catching balls from the quarterbacks. It was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah.
See, that's what we need a guy who can really consistently catch balls out of the backfield because Gruden likes that, or he's used that previously at other teams.
We had some success with it with Matt Jones, but if you look at his numbers, he didn't get a lot of catches. He just had catches that went for big yards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And
it wasn't like a consistent thing he did.
Trust to get 3-4 a game.
Exactly.
And that's not Matt Jones.
No.
Right. And we saw teams that have that guy did generally pretty well, I think, this past season.
Right.
It's important. It opens up your whole offense if you've got a guy who's versatile in the backfield who can do both those things.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So this is all awesome. Maybe we should save some more potentials for next time, so we don't. So we give the listeners some enticement to come back.
I'll just say one last thing about the combine from what I've seen.
Yes. Please do.
The offensive line didn't look very good to me overall.
Interesting.
The offensive lineman prospects did not show well to me in most of the on-field drills. You know, some of them were strong. They put up big numbers on bench. Yeah, wow, that's great. But I don't know. Technique looks terrible amongst all of them. You know, they're all over the place. You know, they're all leaning forward, waist bending. I really don't know what they're being coached nowadays. You know, maybe I'm too critical, but it did not look good to me. And Laramie Tunsil, by the way, he's a great player. He's going to be probably the #1 overall pick. But what bothered me about him in the combine workout, no matter what he did, they gushed over it. I mean,
he was like the darling, the media darling.
I mean, it was great and all. It wasn't like, oh my God, you know, he wasn't like Trent Williams at the combine. You know, he was smooth during the drills and all that, but it's not like, come on, he's not perfect.
Right.
So would you say that there's really no when I say a first rounder, I usually think a guy who should be starting right away. Is there any guys who should be starting right away?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, Laramie Tunsil is a starter. You know, I think he'll be a great left tackle. You know, he's just not as good as they say he is. You know, I feel Ronnie Stanley is okay. I mean, he's good, but he's not great. I would have taken, if you want to go back to last year's draft, I would have taken, what's his name, Lyle Collins over either of them as a tackle prospect. I mean, because you can go back and look and say, yeah, Sheriff, he was a guard. But anyway, yeah, Tunsil's a starter, Stanley's a starter. Ryan Kelly, the center from Alabama, is a starter. He's going to be a good center. I see it. He's pretty good. He's an intense guy too. Like I don't think I ever saw him crack a smile during the combine. But he's going to be very good too. And the other last name O-line wise, Nick Martin. He's the brother of Zach Martin from the Cowboys. He's going to be a center, but I don't know. I think he could play guard.
Okay.
All right. Well, shit, you heard it here first, folks. We talked about a lot of prospects. We talked about some defensive tackles, so keep those names in mind. Buckner, DJ, Robbie's got a whole write-up, and he's mentioned other names, so make sure you...
Billings.
Rankins. Remember those guys. Remember Steve's. I love the...
My quarterback, Doughty.
I was going to say, I love the idea of having a potential backup named Dowdy on the team again.
Great.
It's been a while. I love that.
Maybe we could give him number 13 to switch
37,
off
wasn't it?
31.
Yeah. There you go. Nothing.
Or was he 37? Damn it.
Nothing unlucky about 13 anyway.
Yeah.
All right, well, keep rolling with us. We got much more position groups to talk about. Robbie's going to keep hitting you with some great combine information, so keep that in mind. I believe the next date that we have to watch out for is the 7th, right? Because that's when we can actually start signing dudes or contacting people in free agency.
Feel free to hit me up on Twitter if you've got draft questions or want to talk prospects. I'm always down to do that. At Deadeye Duncan.
And where can they find you on
Duncan with a K.
There you go. There you go. We will be back with you guys next week, so make sure you check back with us. We will see you then.
Later.
Bye, folks.